You're not crazy. You're not too sensitive. You're not the problem. What you survived was real, and it has a name. Welcome to Fuck You Narcissist, the podcast where we speak the truth that nobody told you, backed by science, rooted in story, and driven by one mission: to heal the people this epidemic has quietly been destroying. I'm your host, Tracey Lynch, author, founder, and a woman who lived it, survived it, and refuses to be silent about it. I work to save the lives of women being quietly erased. Every week we go deep, we go raw, we go scientific, because around here we operate on one principle. The whole point is to take the energy you've pointed their way and use it to heal yourself. And to do that, we need to deal with facts, not feelings. Let's get into it. Somewhere along the way, you were trained to distrust yourself, to second-guess your memory, to apologize for your perception, to believe your feelings were too big, too much, too raw, and that their version of events was the real one. Today, we dismantle that training, brick by brick, with evidence. Facts, not feelings. I need to explain what this means, because some people hear this and they think it means your feelings don't matter. They do. Profoundly, irreversibly, your feelings are sacred data. But here's the problem with feelings when you are in or recovering from a narcissistic relationship. They have been weaponized against you. Your feelings were called unstable, excessive, manipulative. Your feelings were used as evidence that you were the problem. And so over time, you learned to dismiss them yourself. You internalized the critic. You became your own gaslighter. Facts change that. Facts are what you experienced, measured, documented, and observed. Facts are not subject to their interpretation. Facts are the foundation of the new house you are building, one that cannot be talked down, minimized, or gaslit out of existence. Facts, not feelings, mean I trust what I experienced. I documented what I observed. And I refuse to argue about reality with someone who is professionally invested in distorting it. There is a reason it is so hard to trust yourself after narcissistic abuse, and it has a name: cognitive dissonance. Leon Festinger, a social psychologist at Stanford, coined the term in 1957. Cognitive dissonance is the mental discomfort, the psychological pain that arises when you hold two conflicting beliefs simultaneously. In narcissistic relationships, the dissonance typically sounds like this. Belief 1, this person loves me. I have seen them be kind, generous, and wonderful. They are the person I chose. They are family. Belief 2, this person is hurting me repeatedly, deliberately, in ways that leave me confused, depleted, and afraid. Those two beliefs cannot coexist comfortably. And when the brain is under stress, it typically resolves the dissonance by discrediting the belief that feels most dangerous, which is typically belief number 2. Because acknowledging that someone you love is abusing you requires you to blow up your entire understanding of the relationship. And that is a grief so big, it can feel unsurvivable. So instead, you minimize, you rationalize, you say they were just having a bad day. They didn't mean it. Maybe I did provoke them. Maybe I am too much. Facts interrupt cognitive dissonance because facts say, regardless of how I feel, regardless of what the narrative is, here is what actually happened, right here, written down, time-stamped, real. I use a tool I call the truth table, and I want you to build one, not in your head, on paper, or on your phone, or in a notebook, but somewhere physical, somewhere real. 2 columns. On the left, the feeling. On the right, the fact. Left column, maybe I was too harsh. Right column, I asked for an accounting of the money they took. That is a reasonable request. Left column, she's just stressed. Right column, She has canceled plans, taken money, and refused to communicate for 3 months. This is a pattern, not a circumstance. Left column, she'll come around. Right column, she has come around. Every single time she comes around, she needs something. The pattern is documented. Left column, I must be a bad mother. Right column, I worked 2 jobs. I showed up to every game, every graduation, every emergency. I gave this child everything I had. The receipts exist. Do you see what happens? The right column doesn't argue with the left. It doesn't dismiss it. It just replaces reality next to the feeling and lets them speak for themselves. Here's one of the most sophisticated tools in the narcissist toolkit. They do not ignore your feelings. They redirect them. When you cry, they become the one who is hurt by your tears. When you express anger, you become the aggressor. When you set a boundary, you become the abandoner. When you grieve, you become the manipulator. Dr. Lundy Bancroft, author of Why Does He Do That?, one of the most important books on abuse dynamics ever written, calls this emotional judo. The narcissist uses the force of your own emotions against you. That's worth repeating. The narcissist uses the force of your own emotions against you. Remember that. Your vulnerability becomes ammunition. Your love becomes a leash. This is why feelings on their own without the anchor of documented facts can be a liability in these relationships. Not because your feelings are wrong, but because they have been systematically trained to turn against you. Facts are the antidote, not to your feelings, to their manipulation of them. Here are your 4 facts-based practices. I want you to start at least one of these this week. First, the documentation habit. After any significant interaction with a narcissist or in recovery, after any trigger or memory, write a brief, factual summary. Date it. What was said, what was done, what the pattern matches. No interpretation, just events. Second, the pattern log. Every time a behavior repeats, mark it. Date, behavior, outcome. After 30 days, look at your log. Patterns become irrefutable. Third, the witness practice. Before you send a text, make a call, or have a confrontation, ask yourself, is what I'm about to say factual or reactive? You can feel the feeling and choose the response. Those are 2 separate actions. And fourth, the reframing protocol. Every time your inner voice says something damaging, I am too much, I deserve this, I am going crazy, write it down and ask, what is the factual evidence for or against this belief? Every single time. I think you're going to need a notebook. Here's what I need you to understand at the cellular level. The reason this is called facts, not feelings, is not because feelings are invalid. It is because in the narcissistic system, your feelings have been turned into tools of your own oppression. You feel guilty, so you stay. You feel responsible, so you give more. You feel crazy, so you defer to their reality. Facts will break that chain. Facts say, regardless of what I feel in this moment, here is what the evidence shows. Here is the pattern. Here is the history. Here is the truth. And truth, even when it hurts, is always more merciful than the lie you've been living in. I want you to go somewhere private after this episode, and I want you to write down one fact, just one, about what happened to you. Not how you felt about it, just what actually happened. Because the fact is the first brick in the new foundation, and you are going to need it. Next week, episode 5, God, Guilt, and Gaslighting. Because some of the most devastating abuse I've ever encountered came wrapped in Scripture. If no one has told you today, you matter. You are not what they said you were. Your grief is not weakness. It is evidence of your love. You survived a hurricane with a smile on its face, and you are still here. If this episode hit you in the chest, share it. Someone in your world is drowning and they don't even know it yet. They need this. Give it to them. Subscribe, leave a review, and come find me at TraceyLynch.com because healing is not a solo sport. I'm Tracey Lynch, and this has been Fuck You Narcissist. Facts, not feelings. Until next time.